and that gets that gets to what peers can be in 2023. Obviously, we had the skill peer update this week, but like you said, peers can also be done for a challenge or for prestige rather than a combat benefit, because you don't really need that in this day and age. So it's easier than ever to do that now with this week's update. And I think, like you said, that's where we go from here. You go to some kind of fresh start, like limited mode, where you could have accounts that are limited in terms of what skills they can train, now that that clearly exists in game. I know, Tanis, you wanted to highlight some of this.
Yeah, no, I really, I agree with that. And that would be the thing that drew me into it, right? I think, your idea of perhaps even pairing that with an Iron Man, or group Iron Man thing would be absolutely wonderful.
And what that means is one person would only be able to train gathering skills, one person would only be able to train combat skills, one person would only be able to train artisan, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, to me that sounds fun. I think it's one of those things where they had this update, they had it ready. It was waiting on some other things that had to be in place first. So it was a matter of, we can release this now and get it out the door because it's been sitting here for a minute, or we, wait even longer to try to put it together a bigger package. Now, I'm somebody that doesn't mind waiting for bigger packages, but I can see why you'd want to get this out the door, and I guess you can always wrap it up later. Going forward, you could always include this in a timed event like Fresh Start was.
Well, that's right.
I would be all over that.
This would be a good thing, though. I mean, release it like this, see if there's some interest in it, make sure it works okay, and then get it out into this year's competition, this year's sort of Fresh Start Worlds. You'd love to see something like that, because I'd love to see in RS3 sort of what they had in Fresh Start Worlds, where there was that competitive side. Yes, that leads, people complain, it leads to, unhealthy lifestyles and this type of thing. But, people have got to be responsible for themselves. You can't blame someone else. Take responsibility for the way you are.
Yeah.
Don't punish the majority because there's a couple of people who can't control themselves. We need to have more of that type of thing.
Seriously, you can sit at home, do heroin all day long too, but it's probably not going to work out for you.
Exactly.
It's
well, it's like here in Australia, I can only go to the casino 24 hours a week, and sort of 2 months after they pass that rule, the government opens their own online Keno site 24/7. So I can go and play poker for 24 hours a week, or I can sit at home playing Keno for, 97 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's just like, come on. There's a time for protecting people from themselves, and there's a time people have to stand up and do it, look after their own things. Take responsibility. You're a freaking adult.
Yep.
I don't know how we got to peers from that, but it's an interesting discussion in terms of limited.
Pure logic, Shane.
No,
pure logic.
No, it's just, but I'm saying because people complained about Fresh Start Worlds, it led to an unhealthy lifestyle where people were playing, sort of 16, 18, 20 hours a day, and and that's not healthy. But I mean, it's also not Jagex's fault that people can't control themselves, and we shouldn't be punished because a couple can't control themselves. Is what is basically what my point was, and I'd love to see a 3 or 4 month competition where we had this pure type thing and work it out around that. It'd be fantastic.
That's it. I'm suing McDonald's. I'm overweight, and I think it's their fault. I went there tonight. I can't help it.
But when you look at this at the end of the day, in terms of Jagex updates that they have put out, I don't know how much dev work went into the peer update this week. I don't. But if we were able to spin off an entire 3-month competitive mode from this, in terms of skill blocking, and utilizing the high score infrastructure they had from before.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
And it's
Because
a lot
obviously,
more bang for your buck.
Right, because obviously right now the user interface for this is you go talk to Nastroth and you block XP at a skill. But what's to say Jagex just doesn't decide to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that could just be a step in the process of onboarding, right? If you had a timed event like that, like,
yeah,
okay, well, what are you blocking? Or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities with it, other than just some kind of incentive other than making up your own game.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if anything, it's interesting to look how we've gone from something that was PvP related prior to EOC in RS2 era to something here that is now based around the prestige and vanity of it, to saying maybe this is how, a future Fresh Start Worlds or something like Fresh Start Worlds could take off for RS3. I think that proves there was merit in the idea in 2004, and there still is merit in it today. It just needs to be applied correctly. And I think that I think is going to be the grand realization of this peer discussion.